Hi everyone, I'm Mohammed, and in this video we'll build an AI agent for advanced and smart YouTube search using AutoGen and MCP servers. This agent can look at many different videos in YouTube for a specific topic, specific content. It can look at their transcripts, their number of likes, their number of views, and it can generate a report of its best findings. So if you're looking to learn how to develop an AI agent from scratch, or how to work with MCP servers, or how to develop a UI, a web application for an AI agent, this video is for you. And not only this video, you can check other videos in my playlist for interesting projects on agentic AI development. So without further ado, let's start. Okay, so we'll develop this project in two parts. In the first part, we'll build the AI agent and we'll set up the MCP server for YouTube. And we'll make everything work inside terminal. And in the second part, we'll develop a web application, a UI with Streamlit. So now let's build the AI agent. Let's build agent.py. As usual, we'll be doing this with AutoGen. And for the AI agent, we need to work with the assistant agent class in AutoGen. So let's import it from AutoGen agent chat.agents, import assistant agent. And as you know, an LLM agent, an AI agent, needs an underlying LLM. So we'll be working with OpenAI GPT-4.1 in this project. So I also need to import OpenAI chat completion client in AutoGen from autogenx.models.openai import OpenAI chat completion client. And as we've talked about this in previous videos as well, AutoGen works with async IO, so we need to import async IO as well. Okay. For now, let's make a main coroutine, async def main. In this coroutine, we'll build the AI agent. We'll create an object for GPT-4.1 LLM, and then we'll use that object, that LLM, for our assistant agent. And we'll also set up the MCP server for YouTube, and we'll orchestrate the agent. So let's create a model which will be representing our LLM. It will be an OpenAI chat completion client. The model will be GPT-4.1. And we need to pass our API key. So if you don't have your OpenAI API key, you can easily visit platform.openai.com and get your API key. Never ever directly enter your API key inside your code. At least, have it in a separate file, and make sure you don't push that file in GitHub or any public repository. So I need to read my API key from API_OpenAI.text, OpenAI.text, .read to read the whole file, and .strip to make sure there's no extra space or new line at the end of the file. And now I'll create the agent object. It will be an assistant agent. I should give it a name. Let's go with YouTube agent. And I need to specify its system message. This will be the set of instructions for this agent. So if your set of instructions are pretty short, then you can just enter them here, but I suggest let's keep it separate from your code. It will be better even for your later maintenance. So let's create a new file, a new text file, agent.text. And this will be our system message. You are a YouTube agent. You will get a question or query and need to look for relevant videos in YouTube to answer that. So the input will be a prompt or query, and the output will be a list of relevant YouTube videos. Let's go with this. And what else do I want to say to this agent? So I want the agent to always have a plan at the beginning. It needs to state the plan, and then it needs to go ahead with its plan. So you should always start with a plan, a step-by-step plan, let's say, and clearly state the plan. And in every message, you should mention which stage of the plan you are currently working on, and what the next steps are. Okay. And again, I need some mechanism to terminate the conversation or terminate the agent's actions. So as you remember from our previous videos, one way is that I can specify a certain expression that whenever the agent outputs that expression, it will automatically terminate the process. But that's not a very trustworthy and reliable way, because sometimes, even without the agent meaning that, it states that, for example, right now it's not time to say that expression, like terminate, and then AutoGen at that instant terminates the process. So a better way is that we ask the agent to call a tool that is dedicated for terminating the process and the actions. So whenever you have answered a query completely, or you reached to the conclusion that you cannot find relevant videos, you should always call, I will hand in a terminate function to the agent. So you should always call terminate, the terminate tool, without any further output. Okay. This seems fine for now. Let's proceed, and later on, if we see there's a problem, we'll modify this agent.txt. So for the system message, I need to import this agent.txt, just like what we did with API key. And I should also specify the model client, the underlying LLM for this agent. It will be model. And that's it for now. Right now we have a working agent, although it doesn't have access to YouTube tools, but we can talk with this agent and it will reply. It might hallucinate. You can go on and try it. My guess is that it will hallucinate. It will seem that it's calling a tool while there is no tool under the hood. So now we should set up the MCP server for YouTube. There are a bunch of MCP servers for YouTube, but I found this one pretty reasonable and reliable. I'll drop the link on the descriptions of this video. As you can see, it has a bunch of tools for example, getting details about a specific video, like its title, its thumbnail, its descriptions, how many views and likes it has. It has a tool for searching the video, getting transcripts, getting related videos based on a video, or getting information about the channel. or even comparing videos. This is interesting. And installation is pretty easy. You can either do it manually or you can use this kind of installation. You can just provide the command needed, the arguments, and the environments, which is the YouTube API key. You can also specify the language for transcripts, but the default is English. So as you can see, you need to provide your YouTube API key, and for that you need to create an account in Google Cloud Platform. To my understanding, it's free to create an account in Google Cloud Platform, or maybe you can get a 1 month trial, and you can easily search for YouTube data. There is this YouTube data API version 3. You can click on it, and then you need to enable the service. And again, I guess it's free. I'm not sure, but at least to a certain amount of usage, it's free. So if you're just gonna try this and explore different ideas, so it will not cost you. So you need to enable the API. Of course, I've enabled it before, so it's already enabled for me, but you need to click on an enable button and then go to the manage page and credentials. This gives you a list of your current APIs from Google services. You see, I have a Google Maps API. This is for my previous video. And also this one is for my YouTube services API. You can click on show key and copy the API, and just as what you've done with OpenAI API, you can save it as a text file beside your code. So I need to import the methods and classes for MCP in AutoGen from autogenx.tools.mcp import. So we will set up the MCP server with MCP server tools method, and also we'll import the stdio server params. This is a class for parameters of the stdio based MCP server. So now I need to create the parameters object. Let's call it params. It's an stdio server params object. Now, as you can see from the arguments, I need to provide the command. The command will be npx, and then I need to specify the arguments for this MCP server. You can see here's the arguments needed, -y and YouTube data MCP server. And also I need to specify the environment, which will be a dictionary like this one. And the key will be YouTube API key, and the API goes here. And similarly, I can just open API underline YouTube.txt and read it and make sure there's no extra space at the end. Now I can create and set up my MCP server out of this params object. So MCP tools will be, I need to await this because this is a coroutine, not an ordinary function. MCP server tools, I need to provide the server parameters. So server params will be params. Okay. Now I can hand in the tools here. Tools will be MCP tools. So if you run the agent this way with this configuration, let's say I have an input prompt of, hey, search in YouTube for videos on normal equations. So it will call the search video tool. We had this tool, as you can remember, search videos. It will call this tool, and it will look for some relevant videos. It will get the results back, but it cannot process those results. Maybe there are some irrelevant or redundant details, and it will not the agent will not generate a report for us. It will just call the tool. So for each step in this configuration, in each step that you call the agent, it will only be able to call a tool or output a message, and then it's done. So if we want the agent to process the results that it gets back from calling a tool, we need to set this flag of reflect on tool use to true. By default, it's false. So even in this configuration, we still have a problem. Although we've set reflect on tool use to true, but each step for this agent means either it will generate a text message or it will call a tool and reflect on the results got from the tool. So each step will be either of these two. And obviously and most likely in many different scenarios, an agent needs multiple steps to be able to answer the query. So we need some mechanism. We need to somehow make the agent able to use several steps, to do actions in several steps. We have two ways to do this. The first way, which we've also done this in previous videos, we can make a team out of this single agent and run that team. The team can make the agent do actions for several steps. Let's do that for now. I need to import the team from AutoGen agent chat.teams, import RoundRobinGroupChat. So I would say team is equal to RoundRobinGroupChat. I need to specify the participants in this team, which will be our agent. And I can also specify how many turns in maximum is allowed for this team. Let's say 5 turns. I can also specify a termination condition. As we talked about this, I need to develop a termination function. So let's define terminate. And it doesn't get any argument. It doesn't even need a body. I can just pass it. But it's better to provide a documentation doc string for that. So I would say tool to terminate the agent's execution. Yeah, that's it. And I need to import from AutoGen agent chat.conditions function called termination function. Function called termination. Yeah. Oh. Yes. Sometimes Copilot is really annoying. Okay. So now I can use a function called termination. I need to provide the function name as a string. It will be terminate. Okay, and now I can orchestrate the team, or in practice, our single agent. So let's just do this in terminal now. So I can use the console object in AutoGen from AutoGen agent chat.ui import console. And I can await the console. As you see, it gets a stream. So I can say team.run stream. I need to specify a task for the team. So let's define it. Find 3 videos on normal equations, let's say. Okay. And now let's create an event loop out of this coroutine and run the program. Python agent.py. You see, YouTube MCP Server has started. We have a step-by-step plan. Number 1, define the search query, use normal equations. Number 2, search for relevant videos. Number 3, present the results, list the 3 most relevant and informative videos. Currently, I'm working on step 2 because it already knows the step 1. searching for true relevant videos. Now you see it is called this search videos. And YouTube MCP Server has started, but we have an error. And what is the error? Base OpenAI chat completion client that create got an unexpected keyword tool choice. It's strange. Maybe I need to update my AutoGen because I've recently updated the agent chat, but I haven't updated the OpenAI version. Maybe that's where the problem is coming from. Let's see. Let's go to AutoGen documentation. And now let's go to agent chat, models, OpenAI. So we need to install this one. And I want to make sure it's also upgraded. Okay. Let's run the agent.py code again. Oh, now we have new errors. This is definitely due to dependencies and versions, different versions for different modules. So let me also update this one, the AutoGen agent chat as well. And also my MCP server. You see, AutoGen is still under heavy development, so this can also happen to you. Every now and then, you'd better to upgrade your AutoGen to the latest version. So I also need the MCP. I also need to upgrade the tools extension of AutoGen. Let's see, where was MCP? Yes. I'm sure I need to upgrade this one as well. Let's find it. Okay, and AutoGen X, I guess it should be MCP. Okay, let's run the code now. So we have an error in this line. Let's see where's the error coming from. Server params, this is a coroutine. So this is the only way we could have done this. I don't know where's the error coming from. Okay. just to make sure, let's see. Yes, it's still there even in the new version. MCP Server tools. It's strange. Okay. Okay, now it's working. So maybe the new upgrades wasn't applied at 1 minute earlier, but now it's working. And you see. Okay, now it's stuck. And it makes sense. You see, it's just generating the same errors, the same messages. You see, it is calling the tool, saying that I will now terminate the session, then again calls the tool, again says that terminating the session, then again calling tool. And why is that? Because I've forgotten to provide the terminate tool to the agent as well. So, these tools get a list of tools. So MCP tools is already a list. I can add terminate to that as well. And just for more readability, let's wrap them into parentheses. And now if I run, the agent should be able to terminate the process once necessary. You see, step-by-step plan, 3 steps. 1, search YouTube for videos. 2, review the top results. 3, present the list of these 3 videos. And now on stage 1, searching for videos on normal equations. And you see it is called the tool. These are the results we got from the tool. And now stage 2, reviewing the results. And here are 3 YouTube videos that explain or discuss normal equation. We have these 3. And next, no further steps, query answered, providing 3 relevant videos on normal equations, calling terminate. You see, it is called terminate. Oh, and it has continued even afterwards. This is strange. Oh, it's normal, it's not strange. You see, it has called terminate. This is the execution result. Well, we didn't have any result from calling terminate. And we have a reflect on tool use. This is the reflection on using the terminate tool. So I can specify that after you've called terminate, you should definitely say nothing. Let's say. Whenever you have answered a query completely or reached to the conclusion that you cannot find relevant videos, you should always call the terminate tool without any further output. Maybe this wasn't enough. You should not say a single word after calling the terminate tool. Okay. Let's run it again. Oh, we have this problem again. I don't know what's wrong with AutoGen today or after this upgrade, but it totally depends on, random factors, I guess. So what's wrong now? Okay. YouTube MCP Server has started. We have a problem with this async.io.run main. And now await MCP So maybe the problem is that it cannot run the MCP server. It cannot set up the MCP server completely. It has an extra, let's try this. I'm not sure, but let's try. It has an extra, a parameter. Let's see. For this one, maybe, yeah. Read timeout seconds. You can wait up to 30 seconds to make sure that the MCP server is up and running. Let's see. Yes, I guess this was the problem. Sometimes, this has a default value. Let's say it's 5 or whatever number. Sometimes it was successful to set up the MCP server in that time, sometimes not. And that was why we were experiencing it. So I've completed step 1, and yeah, these are the steps. And this is the terminate call. And this is the result we got back. And we have the same problem again. So it calls the terminate tool, and afterwards it starts again. And this is strange. Let's see what we can do here. When you've answered the query completely or reached the conclusion that you cannot find relevant videos, you should always call the terminate tool. You should not say a single word after calling the tool. Let's do a trick. After you called the tool, you should only say goodbye without any further output. Let's see if this works. Okay. These are the steps. This is the tool called result. And these are the 3 videos and terminate and goodbye. Okay, it works now. So this was one way to make the agent use the MCP server for YouTube. And now the agent can run in multiple steps. We actually defined a team out of our single agent, and the team runs in at most 5 turns. This completely works. If you've seen previous videos, you can definitely go on now, or even I suggest this is a better idea. If you're familiar with what we've done in previous videos from this stage onwards, you can go ahead and develop the rest of this project, develop the Streamlit web application. But we're gonna do something rather different from the previous videos now. Of course, you can do it the old way, but now I'm gonna develop it with a different way. So let's say in some scenarios, there are some scenarios, and there definitely are some scenarios that this single agent can go wrong, can produce wrong results, or maybe the results are good, but not good enough. Maybe, for example, I ask the agent to list 10 videos and one of them is not really relevant. So I need some sort of feedback mechanism, and a suggested solution in these scenarios is that I can have another agent that acts as critic. It provides feedback on the results of this YouTube agent. But here's the question. now we have, the things will be a little bit more complicated if I add a critic agent, because this agent, this YouTube agent, needs several steps to accomplish the task. And then after this agent is done, has done all of its work, then the critic should come in and inspect the result and provide feedback. Either decides that it's good, or it gets back to the YouTube agent and asks it to revise its answer. So you see, it's not a round robin group chat, an inherent application of round robin group chat, because they're not gonna talk in turns. It's not gonna be like YouTube agent critic, YouTube agent critic. It will be like YouTube agent, YouTube agent, YouTube agent. We may have 10 steps with the YouTube agent until it's done, and then it should go to the critic agent. So we can either have a different kind of team, like selector group chat, that we have another LLM. At each step it decides if the next one should be the YouTube agent to talk, or it should be the critic agent. Or if we want to do it with round robin group chat, and I want to do that with round robin group chat because I want to introduce a new update on AutoGen, a new argument on the assistant agent in this video. They've introduced this tool, max tool iterations. So now an agent can run a tool several iterations in a single step. So we can easily set this parameter, let's say, to 10. This means that the agent can call a tool or different tools 10 times in a single step. If we do that, then obviously we can have our round robin group chat. We can have our YouTube agent and critic agent together. And in each turn, let's say it's the first turn for the YouTube agent, it can call different tools for up to 10 times, just like we were doing it right now. So let's do that. For the YouTube agent, we're already done. This is what we needed to do. Now let's create the critic agent. So we have a new agent called critic. And I need to specify its system message. So again, like the YouTube agent, I will create a critic.text for this one. And you are a critic agent working with a YouTube agent. You should analyze the output from the YouTube agent and see if it completely meets the query requirements. If the output is satisfactory and flawless, you should call the terminate tool and say goodbye. Otherwise, you should provide constructive feedback to the YouTube agent on how to improve the output. Okay, this seems reasonable. So I will use this critic.text for the system message. The model client, the underlying LLM, will be the same GPT-4.1. And the tools that we need for the critic agent is terminate. And of course, I don't need to give the terminate tool to the YouTube agent from now on. I should also remove that from its prompt. So I don't need to whenever you have answered a query completely or you reach, no, I don't need this at all. Okay, now the team has the agent and the critic as participants. Still, it runs up to 5 turns, and the termination condition is a call to the terminate tool. So let's see. Oh, I forgot to close the parentheses for this one. The MCP server has started. These are the 3 steps. We have a tool call from the YouTube agent, reflection, and then here's the critic agent. It has called terminate because the result was satisfactory. So this is good enough, I guess, for now. Now let's go ahead and develop the UI, the web application. So I will create the app.py, import Streamlit as SD, and just like our previous videos, we need to separate or split this main coroutine into 2 coroutines, one for configuration of the theme and the other one for orchestration. So I will have a new coroutine, async def, or it doesn't even need to be a coroutine, it can be an ordinary function because it's not an IO bound function. It doesn't have to do lots of processes, it just needs to define the agents and the theme and config the MCP server once. So def config, and I will move all of these codes up until the theme definition to this config, you see, and in the end it returns the theme, and then I need orchestrate coroutine, orchestrate, it gets a theme and a task, and instead of using console here, I will just iterate over the runStream method, and I will yield each message. So this is not an ordinary coroutine, this is technically an async generator. So async for message in theme.runStream with task. For each message, I will yield the message. And now I need to define the theme. Here's the theme, here's the task. And instead of passing this theme.runStream, I can use my orchestrate function. So orchestrate theme with this task. It should still work. Let's see. Oh, yes, it's my fault because you see here we have a coroutine, so we've awaited this, so this definitely needs to be a coroutine. Okay, let's run the code. Coroutine object has no attribute runStream. This is for theme.runStream. Well, we've returned this theme. Oh, yes. We should also await this because we changed config into a coroutine, so we should await it. Now let's run it again. You see, this is a live coding. This is exactly what happens to you if you start coding from scratch. You get into different errors and you need to find a way to address them. This is one of the most important skills for every developer and every programmer. you need to be able to address the errors, and this is a really important skill. The better you are at this, the better programmer you are. Okay, you see it worked. In the end, we have a terminate call from Critic, and we're done. Okay. And even in this new configuration, this was the beauty of it, we don't even need to set reflect on tool use for Critic to true. So now whenever Critic calls terminate, it doesn't need to reflect on it, because the only tool that Critic might call is terminate, and we don't want to say anything after terminate. So we've created a mechanism such that we don't even need to do prompt engineering and modify our prompts to tell the agent not to say anything after terminating the conversation. So let's get back to app.py. I need to specify a title, YouTube search agent. Yes. And now I need a chat container. So c.container. And I also need a chat input. So I'll name it task. It's an sc.chat input. The placeholder will be enter your query here. This is okay. And if the user has entered any prompt or any query or any task, now I need to create the team and orchestrate the team. So from agent, import config and orchestrate. And now whenever the user has decided to enter a prompt, I need to create a team. For this, I also need to import async.io. And I need to run the config coroutine. So async.io dot run config. This gives us the team. And after I have the team, I need to create a coroutine here, an async generator here. Async def run agent or run team. It gets the team and the task. And now I need to iterate on this for message in orchestrate team and task. And for every message, I can render the message as a chat box, as a sc.chat message. So I can do it directly here, but for reasons that we'll see momentarily, I prefer to do this in a separate function. So I will define a new function, show. It gets a container and a message, and it will render that message. For now, let's say with container, I want to do it inside the container. And for now, let's just say sc.markdown message. Okay. And now I can easily say for message in orchestrate team and task, show using the chat container, show the message. And I need to just run this coroutine with the team and the task, and that's it. And let's wrap it inside a spinner object with spinner running the agent, run the team, running the agents. And once we're done, just show a success message. Now I can run this Streamlit app, Streamlit run app.py. you see, this is the title, this is the chat input, and I would say find a video on integrals in calculus. Of course, we haven't rendered the messages beautifully. You see, they're absolutely dirty, but it's working, you see. And task complete, because it has called the terminate function. So now we have a working app, but it's not working at its best. We need to render these messages beautifully. So I should inspect each message, what type it has, because you see, whenever we call this orchestrate, and we know under the hood that orchestrate is actually calling the run stream method of the team, as you can see here. So this yells different messages until the end of the conversation, and in the end of the conversation, it returns a task result object. And that task result contains everything about the conversation, the history of the conversation, how many tokens was there, and so on and so forth. We don't want to show that. We don't want to render that in our app. So first of all, we should check. I need to import the task result object. I should check if message is a task result. I won't render it. If it's not a task result, then I need to decide. If it's a tool call, I want to show it differently. If it's a thought message, I want to show it differently. Or even like, ordinary text messages. So from AutoGen, agent chat.base import task result, and yeah, now inside this container I should check if message is a task result. If it's instance message and task result, then I don't want to do anything else, or I can do it the other way. If not is instance of task result, then it depends on who is the source of the message. The source can be either the user, or it can be one of our two agents. So if it's the user, I want to render it with a different avatar, like a human. If it's one of our agents, I want to render it with at least one different avatar, or maybe two avatars. So if message.source is user, then I want to render it this way, with sc.chatMessage, with name being user. This is a predefined name in Streamlit. It shows a human avatar. I want to render it as a markdown. And for now, let's say else with sc.chatMessage of assistant. This is another predefined name in Streamlit. I will render it as markdown. So let's run this again. This should be much more beautiful. Find a video of Lionel Messi. Messi's goals to Real Madrid in 2017, for example. I'm sure he has scored every year to Real Madrid, so it will find something. You see, it's much more beautiful. This is my prompt as a human. These are the agent's prompts. Outputs. And yes, finally we have this terminate call. And we have a none. I'm not sure what is this none. We'll see. Okay. So one problem we just saw was that we want to also render tool calls more beautifully. So I need to, and tool calls have two different objects in AutoGen. I should import them to check if message are instances of those types. From AutoGen agent chat.tools import, not tools, messages, import tool request event and also tool execution event. It will be one of these two types. When it calls a tool, it will be tool call request event. When we have the result back, it will be tool call execution event. So we should also check here. Elif, it's an you see, if the message is from one of the assistants, if it's not from the user, then it will definitely be from one of the assistants. Now we should check if the message is an instance of either tool call request event or tool call execution event, one of these two, then I want to render them as a sc.expander object. So with sc.expander, say tool call. I don't want to format it. Yeah. And just write them down, the message. Else, if it's not a tool call, then I always want to render them as a markdown. So let's run it now. Find 3 videos on normal equations in machine learning, for example. Okay, you see, it's much more beautiful now. The tool calls are, in an expander object, we can open them and see what is their content, or we can just leave them closed. And this is the final result. So these are the 3 videos, and these 2 are the final tool calls for terminate. Okay. Now, I want to make this even slightly more beautiful. I like my agent to also show the thumbnail of each video. So let's say I want the agent that when it is reporting these 3 videos, it should also showing their thumbnails as well. So I can specify this in their prompt, in the agents prompt, the YouTube agents. I can say, whenever you suggest a video, you should definitely include its thumbnail or render its thumbnail in markdown format. Okay. Now let's see. Suggest 3 videos for normal equation. Now you see we have the thumbnails as well. The first video, watch here. This is actually a good idea. I don't want to, leave it to the agent. I want the agent to always do it. So I should also specify that it should provide a link for that video. For example, normal equation derivation for regressions. Let's see. Yes, you see the link is valid. Normal equation derivation for regression. Okay. So let's also specify this for the video as well, for the agent to provide the link. You should definitely render its thumbnail in markdown format and provide the link, the URL to the video. Okay. And now we have two other problems that we need to solve. You've seen this in previous videos. If you're familiar with the two problems, then congratulations, you have a very good understanding of how this project really works. Otherwise, it will be really useful to you to pause the video and think for at least a minute and see what can be the problem now. So let me tell you the answer. Let's say I provide the prompt to the agent, just like we did, to search for some relevant videos on a topic. And the agent gets back with a list of videos with their thumbnails, with their links. Everything seems fine. But we have still two problems. First of all, let me show you the problems in action. So I say, give me a list of 3 videos on normal equations. Okay, we have these 3 videos, fine. Now, if I have a follow-up prompt, if I say, for example, how many times have each video been viewed and liked? Let's see what happens. First of all, my previous messages are disappearing. And secondly, it has no clue what I was talking about. You see, clarification, goodbye, it's nonsense. So we have 2 problems. One with our Streamlit app. Once we have a new message, the previous messages will disappear. And then we have a problem with our agents. They forget what we were talking about. So in order to fix the first problem, the one with Streamlit, I can easily, track and keep a history of the messages and always show the messages at the beginning. So I would say I will have a messages list to collect the previous messages at the beginning. If it's not there, then I will store it in Streamlit.sessionState. And once we have a new message, okay, we have this show, and I should check here if it's not a task result object, just the way we did it here. I should check if it's not a task result object, then I want to append it to our messages list. So if not is instance of task result object, append it to message, and also show it. And I don't need to check for this again here because I'm doing it already in my condition for task. So this fixes the first problem. Of course, I need to show all of the messages in the beginning as well. So I would say if these messages has at least one element, then for each of them, for each message in my messages, show the message. That solves my first problem. And for the second problem, I still need to do something with AutoGen, with my team. Each team has a state. I can save the state and load it later. This is how I'm gonna fix this problem. So you see here, once we have a new task, we create the team from scratch. And this is the main reason the team has no clue what we were talking about previously. So once we create the team, we should check. And if we have a state saved from previous conversations, we should load it first and then orchestrate the team. So I would say if team state in our session state, if we have a team state, then the team should load that state. Team await team.load state with that team state. And once my agents are done, once my team has been orchestrated and we're done, I need to save its states. So I would say st.session_state.team_state will be await team.save_state. And this fixes my second problem. Now let's see. And just for a more beautiful title, let me ask Copilot, decorate it with some emojis. Okay, this is good. Let's run the Streamlit app. Now I would say, give me a list of 3 great videos on normal equations. You see, we have these 3 videos. We're done. And now it's time for, you see, we've called the terminate tool at the end. We're done. And now I can have a follow-up question. For example, I can see, tell me how many views have each video has. How many views and likes? Now you see, my previous messages are still there. And the agent knows what we're talking about. You see, it is referring to the previous videos. For each video, it is giving me the number of videos, number of views, and number of likes. So I can even ask more interesting questions. Let's do it in a separate run. Look for 20 videos on normal equation and give me the best 10 of them in a table with their thumbnails. Let's not mention thumbnails. I want to see if it does it by itself or not. With their titles, no of views and no likes. Let's see. So this is something that you really can't do with YouTube. You can't ask it to give you a list of 20 videos and suggest the best 10 of them based on their number of likes. You can do advanced search, but with this agent you can do even more complex kinds of search. It can even go and look at the transcripts of the videos and tell you in which specific moment something occurs. So you have this table now. And just to test it, let's see. Yeah, the link is valid. You can see. Yes. So that's it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it and you've learned something new. This is definitely not the end. Now it's your turn. You should start from scratch, try to develop this same project without looking back at this video as much as you can. Just you have a good idea what we did. Start it. You might bump into errors. Don't worry. Look for ways to address those errors. See where they're coming from, how you can address them. It might take several hours from you, but it really helps you master the AI agent development skill. This is a really important skill for the future, believe me. And don't forget to drop your suggestions for the next videos in comments. I will definitely try to record some videos on the most interesting suggestions. Until the next time, take care.